Hi, this is Vijay Dinakar. Today I want to talk about what to do if you're charged with hit and run in California. So if you're a licensed California driver and you're involved in any kind of car accident, whether you hit another vehicle, a pedestrian, or you hit just a piece of property, you do have requirements to stop and provide different kinds of information depending on whether there's simply property damage or there's property damage and also an injury. So this is an extremely common crime, and the typical scenario that I see is that somebody's perhaps driving in a parking lot, they're backing their car out, they hit a car, maybe they don't even notice that they hit that car, and then they drive away, and they don't stop to provide their information or see what actually happened. And then perhaps the police are called, and perhaps they see a police officer arrive at their door, or maybe in some cases they actually get a warrant notice that a case against them has been filed. And that kind of case, it is a crime and it is serious, so you certainly do have to hire an attorney. The other more serious case that I see a lot is there's a car accident and either a pedestrian or a motorist in the other vehicle is actually injured, and the driver drives away without stopping and providing their information. That's a more serious crime. That could be a felony or it could be a misdemeanor. And there's different requirements depending on whether you have simply caused property damage or you've actually caused an injury. So I'm going to start with California Vehicle Code Section 20,002. That's the vehicle code section that deals with a hit and run where there's only property damage. And so basically when you are involved in an accident only involving property damage, you must immediately stop and move your car to a safe location that does not impede traffic and that does not otherwise jeopardize other motorists. And then you're required, pursuant to that vehicle code section 20,002, to do certain things. And I'm actually going to go through all of the things that you're required to do. You have to locate and notify the owner or person in charge of that property of the name and address of the driver and owner of the vehicle involved, and upon locating the driver of any other vehicle involved or the owner or person in charge of any damaged property, if requested, provide the driver's license and the vehicle registration to the other driver, property owner, or other person in charge of that property. And that information must include the current residence of the driver and of the registered owner. And if the registered owner of an involved vehicle is present at the scene, he has to provide upon request his driver's license information, if available, or other valid identification to the other involved parties. So this is the scenario where the other driver of the vehicle that is hit, his property, he's actually there, and that's commonly the scenario. But what happens if the other driver, for instance, you're in a parking lot and you back out and hit a car and the other driver's not there and you wait a bit? What can you do in that scenario? Well, the second section actually lists the requirements of that. You have to leave in a conspicuous place on the vehicle or other property damaged a written notice giving the name and address of the driver and of the owner of the vehicle involved, and a statement of the circumstances thereof. And you have to, without unnecessary delay, notify the police where the collision occurred. So basically, if the driver of the vehicle or the vehicle's owner or the property owner, if you've just hit it property, is not there, you have to provide your information to this person on a piece of paper and without unnecessary delay, contact the police. So those are the requirements if there's an accident and there's no injury whether there's an accident and the other driver's not there, or there's an accident and the other driver is there, in terms of what you have to exchange. But if there's an injury, there's actually additional requirements that you must do. Otherwise, you're guilty of a hit and run. And those are actually listed in California Vehicle Code Section 20,003, the Vehicle Code section that talks about the illegality of hitting and running with an injury is 20,001, but the requirements of what you are required to do are listed in the 20,003 section, and I want to actually go through those here as well. So Vehicle Code Section 20,003A says that the driver of any vehicle involved in an accident resulting in an injury to or death of any person shall also give his or her name, current address, the names and current addresses of any occupant of the driver's vehicle injured in the accident, the registration number of the vehicle he or she is driving, and the name and current residence address of the owner to the person struck or the driver or occupants of any vehicle collided with, and shall give the information to any traffic or police officer at the scene of the accident. And the driver shall also render to any person injured in the accident reasonable assistance, including transporting or making arrangements for transporting any injured person to a physician, surgeon, or the hospital for medical or surgical treatment, if it is apparent that treatment is necessary, or if that transportation is required by any injured person. So I think you have an idea about what's required if you're a California driver and you get in an accident in California, whether there's an injury involved or whether there's no injury involved. I can say, though, that most people really don't know what the specific requirements actually are. And so that's one of the reasons why hit and run allegations are so common. I can also tell you that it is a case that definitely can be defended. It's not actually that easy for the police and prosecutor to prove these cases beyond a reasonable doubt. So you should definitely fight this case. This can certainly have serious implications for your job. If you have any other questions about hit and run, definitely let me know. Visit me at my website at vjlaw.com. Take care and all the best.